What's going on, Kevin? I don't know if I'm gonna keep the lives up just because I don't know, just to maintain some exclusivity. I might, I don't know. We'll see. I just bought the Archeria, all the Archeria plugins, so I'm trying to go through those and make some sounds. Make some sounds from those plugins. What's going on TikTok? I'm streaming on YouTube and TikTok, so I'll be answering both chats. Yep. So someone on YouTube asked if I could talk about how I got started. Who reputation? Man, I don't have any kind of reputation. But in terms of how I got started, um, it was in high school. I had a buddy of mine that was doing music production. He got me into Ableton. And we would just make like lo-fi hip hop beats all day, every day. And before that, I was really into like filming or not filming, but like scoring for like movies and musicals and that kind of stuff. But the way I was going about it was I was using notation software to write out the music, just because I was a band kid and that's what I knew how to do. I didn't know anything about like recording audio or anything like that. So, um, yeah, buddy of mine got me into Ableton, and then I just started seeing how I can use that in a live setting, like for worship, for running tracks, for production, that kind of thing. So reputation, I don't have any kind of reputation, man. I'm 27. No, I'm 26, sorry. But I still feel like I'm super behind the curve, still feel like I'm figuring it out for the first time. And I mean, there's a bunch of people around me that they're just miles ahead of me. So I still feel like I'm trying to learn as much as I can right now and catch up with everybody else. So yeah, it's a little bit about me. Honestly, man, there's no plan to anything I do. I just pray, ask for opportunities, ask for wisdom, and I just whatever I think is the move is what I do. So all right, let's get out of here. And let's go to Omnosphere. There was a patch I started working on a couple days ago. I want to pull it up. See if I can't add anything to it. Cannot find my sustain pedal. Hold up. Yeah, I want to do a lot more with this sound. I use this one for Easter, um, on Sunday. Just kind of like a poly synth. Mm. Someone asked, who are some of my favorite producers in the CCM space?" Ooh, that's a good question, man. Trying to think of like some of my actual favorites. I think some of the guys in Nashville are just really, really solid at what they do. Like Aaron Robertson, super solid at what he does. Um, Also in the elevation vein, Josh Holiday, super gifted. His mind is crazy. Just like hearing the kind of like soundscapes he creates is really cool. Um, I mean, over here, we have Reggie, uh, Matt Edwards. Um, I mean, these are just people that I've seen produce. I wouldn't say I know a whole lot of CCM producers like that. Um, are all the sounds from Omni 2 on the 3 or 2 separate libraries? No, so all of my sounds for anything I make have to be Omnosphere 3 just because I can't like go back to Omnosphere 2. It would just mess up everything on my computer. So unfortunately, everything I create here on out, I'm creating with Omnosphere 3. So yeah, if you have Omnosphere 2, I know it's kind of rough, but it is worth the upgrade, and it's really not that expensive if you already have Omnosphere 2. Or you could be a pirate and sail the seven seas, but you didn't hear that from me. Didn't hear that from me. Anyway. Yeah, CCM producer. I feel like I've answered this question recently and I had like a longer list, but I cannot think of people right now. Um, yeah, I cannot think of people. Oh, yeah. Um, yep, so let's figure something out with this sound. So on layer 1 I have this super 6 saw. I'll just solo what I got so far. Yep, so if you go into the wave page, um that's kind of where I like find whatever the sound source I want. So I knew I wanted like a bright saw pad. So I had never tried the Super 6 saw. So I got that one in there. And then on the Unison page, I've been obsessed with using Unison recently instead of Chorus. So without Unison, it just sounds like a basic saw wave. And of course, you're hearing the filter and everything. But if I turn that unison on, yep, it kind of gives it that chorus sound. Basically, it's creating duplicates of that wave, and you can detune them and spread them out. Um, yeah, Joe Rex, I do. Um, yep. So that's the first sound. Then the filter, I use the old Fat Boy filter. I feel like it's just always been a really good filter in Omnosphere. So I use that. On the second layer, I wanted to use some kind of sample from the D50. So I found this guy right here. But I feel like when I first pulled it out, it had a super long sustain on it. Yep. And you hear how it's like starting to modulate itself a little bit. So I pulled the sustain all the way down and just adjusted the envelope to have a really quick decay. That way you're still getting the attack of the sound, but you're not getting all that extra nonsense. Even though it is kind of cool, like it's kind of a cool texture, but it didn't fit the sound I was going for. And then this layer right here, I don't even remember finding this one. It looks like an old circuit modded SK1, which is an old Casio synth. Have you ever seen Bob's Burgers? It's the keyboard that Gene walks around with and samples things with. I had a roommate in college. He had an SK1, and I remember we would just sample us like making stupid noises on it and stuff like that. And then circuit modding or circuit bending is a mod that people will do to crappy keyboards or like cheap keyboards to make them sound really what am I trying to say, like otherworldly or like crazy. So this one, you can hear like there's some kind of like overtone. There's some kind of like overtone baked into that sample. Someone asked, do I record MIDI for live recordings? I do not. I've thought about it. If I would ever do a live recording as a mains player, I would probably be more prone to recording MIDI. But as an aux player, I know if I don't love a part or if there's something I want to add or something I want to go and change, most likely I'm going to be re-recording it or overdubbing it anyways, just because in a live setting, it might sound different than it would if I'm like, okay, well that sounded really cool live, but it has too much of reverb, or it has a little too much delay on it, and I would go in and just kind of like retract the sound without those effects baked in. Just kind of nuance it a little better. What are your favorite strings and worship drum pads? My favorites are the ones that are in my Ableton pack, which you can find on my website, somewhere on my Instagram page. But the strings are from Omnosphere, and the drum pads are some custom pads I made with Ableton and Omnosphere. So, yep, we have this guy. And you can hear there's like an overtone with it. And I panned it a little to the right to separate it from everything else, so everything's not just like dead center. And then this last sound, I think I panned it to the left a little bit. Is this cool rolling JD800 sound. Which, when I found the sound, I actually wanted to scrap this patch and just make a whole nother patch based off this sound, but I decided to just keep it and use it for this patch. Like that could be its own thing right there. So that with the SK1 together, it's like the SK1's like playing seventh on top of everything, which is kind of cool. Add in the D50 attack. And it kind of gives it like a bell sound, and then you have the super saw um with the unison on. Yes, sir. Omnosphere 3. Yep. So I want to do more with this patch. So I have this first layer good to go. I'm solid on this one right here. I love how it sounds. Kind of want to go into this on number 2 and start creating something else. So I'm thinking having some kind of like synthetic voice element would be kind of cool. So we're going from scratch. Let me go in here. Let me go synth classic. I'm trying to think of a synth that might have had like some interesting choir samples or something like that. What about the SQ80? That's just bells. Not a CS80. This is kind of like a DX7 stack, but that wouldn't do the voice thing very well. I'm curious what this sounds like though. That is kind of cool. Yeah, that's cool. Let's work with this a little bit. And the fact that you can add unison to samples is really cool. Like, that's almost worth the price of Omnosphere. I'm gonna be making some more granular stuff soon. While we're here, I'm gonna show you an example of what I mean with that. If I can find it, I might have to open Omnis or Ableton 12. I think it's this right here. Yeah, I've got to open 12. So this is a patch that I made a few months ago, and I made it right before we did this most recent project with Ford. Here Comes the Wind, and so this is actually, I'll just isolate it. So I took my Rhodes and I recorded like a passage with the Rhodes, and then I chopped it up in Ableton and then made these loops out of it. So it's made of 3 layers. I'm gonna play all 3 layers. And let's change this to the BPM of Here Comes the Wind real quick. So here's layer number 1. You're still hearing this one. So here's layer 1. And this is just a loop of the Rhodes. Here's layer 2. It's just off to one side. If I bring it in, you can hear it a little more. Here's layer 3. All 3 together. And then I made this this little effects rack. I call it the Obliviate, which if you're a Harry Potter fan, it's kind of funny. But if I turn Obliviate up, it just kind of like spaces the sound out a little bit all the way. It's like not usable. But if I bring it back, and so actually when we were at the writing camp, and we were writing Here Comes the Wind, this is the first thing I pulled up. We said we want it to be 164.68. I said, oh, bet. So I went. And we just wrote from there. But I've been using this sound as like just like a droning texture in a lot of projects recently. And the fun thing is it works in 4/4 and 6/8. So say we did a project at 116.44. And you basically just hold down whatever note the song's key is. Say we're doing a slow song in A. Yep. So just a random little tangent. But yeah, I want to basically, I think I got there. I want to make more sounds like that soon with the whole granular vibe to them. So we're stuck on this sound right now. Let me turn unison off. Almost like it without unison, so I might keep that off. And I want it to be an independent signal path. That way it's not, if I adjust the filter, it's not changing it for all of these layers. Let me go ahead and hear that alongside this guy. Yeah, it's coming together. That's a cool sound. I like it. Turn you off again. I still want some kind of choir sound, but I don't want it to be like an actual choir. I want it to be like a synth choir. No. Let me hear that on its own. It's too. I do like that sound. We'll come back to that. Yep, something just like that. Just like that. I want a high pass filter on it. Another thing I have to be conscious about when I make sounds is the more things I like tweak the sound with, the more CPU uh I'm adding. So if I want to use the sound live, I don't want to add so much to the sound. That's just not even going to make that much of a difference. And then in the end, just be spiking the CPU. Um, when it's just stuff like this, like it'd be cool if there was a little bit of an edge to it, but is it worth that jump in CPU for adding a bit crusher? So just small things to think about. But this one I do hear a difference with, so I am gonna keep that one. And I might pan A to the left, B to the right. What's going on, Nathan? I agree to an extent. I think it is. I think there is something important to keeping your like things that get you paid close to your chest. I do think that is important to a degree, but I do agree. Like some people gatekeep a little too much. And I think for me, the only way I figured this stuff out is by seeing other people doing it and like finding it on my own. Um, and so if I had resources like this when I was coming up, then I feel like it would have been a lot easier to learn some of the small things within Omnosphere. But like I said, I do feel like if it's like something you're known for, like I know a lot of producers and like keys players who they have like certain sounds that they're known for. I understand keeping that close to their chest because it's what gets them a call over somebody else. But at the same time, they can still provide like an insight into how they got to where they got. Um, Now, for me, I don't have any sound that's like my bread and butter, so I'm an open book. But I do understand why some people keep them a little closer to their chest. Um, that's just my opinion, though. But I mean, can we get the final? Can we get the final song of Nothing But the Blood of Jesus? Uh, I don't know. I don't even think I have it. I had what I recorded, so I it's probably on YouTube somewhere. You can probably find the live stream from Sunday somewhere. I have no idea. Same tools, student creator. Yeah, no, there is some truth to that, Nathan. I found I'll take that there's a keys player whose sounds I really wanted. And I got a hold of like one of his packs. And then I was like, I have this man's sounds, but I don't sound like him at all. Like I it was like this is definitely the sound he used on this song, but I can't get it to sound like him. And I mean you're right. I could give you every sound I use. It's not gonna be exactly how I would use it. Which like I've run into where I've given people sounds and they're like, yeah, but it doesn't sound right. I'm like, what do you mean? It's literally the sound I'm using. And it's like, but it doesn't sound like sound like it does on a Sunday when you play or on a recording when you play. It's like I'm using it differently. Yeah, I'm just kind of repeating what you're saying, but yeah, you get it. I want the mod wheel to do something on both of these. I'm not sure what though. I could just do a filter, but I feel like that's cheesy. Ooh, I should do like a octave jump, like, and then you raise the mod wheel and it jumps up an octave. Because on this one I already have the aftertouch doing the LFO thing, but it'd be cool if there was an octave baked into it. So this is another thing right here that's scary is the mod matrix in Omnosphere. It took me a long time to finally feel comfortable. Yeah, no, I can't make it because it's not my arrangement, so I can't just make someone else's arrangement. Yeah. But no, for real. It's on YouTube somewhere. You just got to search for it. It was what we did for Easter. Um I got like 2 questions. Hold up. Do you mix your own stems for Sunday mornings? What do you mean by that? Like prior to Sunday mornings or like the stuff I post? Aside from Omnosphere, what are some of your other favorite VSTs or hardware boards to build patches on? I actually love using the Nord onboard synth, like the stage 3 onboard synth. I'm about to buy a 4 here in the next couple months, and I'm curious because I've used the 4 before, but I've never like had a chance where I get to sit down and actually like build patches out on it. So I am curious because I know it's very different than the 3. I am curious what that workflow is going to look like and what kind of sound I can get off of the 4. Um, but other VSTs, man, I love Serum. I love so this is funny. I've used Analog Lab since I was in like high school. Like when Lab 1 came out is like when I started using Analog Lab. I just this past week bought the entire V collection. Like I've made it this far without the entire V collection. And I'm just like, man, I can't believe I waited this long to do it. So I'm starting to explore those a lot more. And I've used V collection before, but this is the first time I've actually owned the V collection. And been able to sit down with it at my own pace. Let me look at my favorite VSTs. I love Oh yeah, Silent. No, V collection is Archeria. I do use the Rolling Cloud too though. Not as much now. I feel like I don't reach for Rolling Cloud like I used to. But Silent, that was like the first VST synth I bought, and I used that thing into the ground. I used to make like a lot of like EDM sounding stuff, um, like chain smokers kind of stuff. Omnosphere, of course. Contact, I use a bunch of Contact libraries. Um, and honestly, that's kind of it for like software synths. No, that's a lie. That's definitely a lie. I've been using Diva by Yuhi Audio a lot recently. Any arrangements you would have made, do you mix them or send them to your mix engineer? Man, if you think we got mix engineer bandwidth, that's crazy. No, we'll typically mix them. If you're just talking about for like a Sunday morning, like making stems and stuff, yeah, we'll just mix them in the box and hope for the best. Yeah, I wish we had mix engineer funds. That'd be crazy. It's crazy. There are people that make stems from scratch and send it to mix engineers. Is my mic making a weird noise? Why is it doing that? No, Contact I store externally, but stuff like Omnosphere, Keyscape, I keep on my internal drive. But yeah, all the Contact stuff is external. All right, I gotta get back to making sounds. All right, so I was thinking, and then mod wheel makes it pitch up. So we'll probably go wheel, oscillator, pitch course maybe? Yeah. And we'll have it go. There's definitely a better way to do this. Oscillator. Amp. Maybe it is pitch course. Just gotta. Oh, yeah. So how many cents would that be? No, I'm not trying to do an LFO like thing. I'm trying to make it just like actually pitch all the oscillators up. Yeah. Hey, shout out you though. You know what you're talking about. I love that. Oh my gosh. It's my wife texting me and me making sure nobody else can see it. Woohoo! Ooh, that was almost tough. Yep, so we'll well now, what the heck? I can't even get it back right. Is there a way to type in that parameter? What's going on, Rob? Bro, what? Who is this? Man, get out of here. I have 99% sure signal and a powerful scalping strategy. But I don't even know what that means. The only kind of scalping I know is the biblical scalping where they would cut off people's scalps. Someone finally makes samples from pigments and Profit VS. Bro, so that's the one thing I was kind of disappointed about. When I bought V Collection, I thought I would be getting pigments with it, but I didn't. I have to buy pigments separately. I'm actually kind of mad you brought that up because that really angered me when I bought it. I was like, I can't wait to use pigments because I see so many people using it like a sampler. Nah, don't have it. Not included. Man. Yeah, so if somebody wants to donate some money so I can buy pigments, let me know. Yep, pitch course. It's so. Let me go into layer A real quick. Pitch course. Yeah, it's detuned there too. How do I get it to like perfectly centered though? I think that's perfect center right there. So then back to modulation. Back to modulation. Oscillator, pitch course. Yeah, now something's wrong. I don't even know. So let me get out of here. Wait, what? You know what? It's a good thing I can just recall this patch right here. There we go. I just couldn't. Yeah, I know it's pitch course. I just couldn't get it back to unison. Yeah, but I need that, but I need it right there. That's where I need it. Yeah, I got you. The closest I can get is 123 though. Is there a way I can like manually type in what I want? Oh, there we go. Point. Perfect. Oh my gosh. Thank you. Who is this person? Hey. Hold up. I might have to give you a follow. Yeah. Thank you. That was very helpful. That would have taken me a lot longer than I thought. Dang, how did you know it was 0.125? That's so crazy. Yeah, that's really crazy. But wait, LFO2 depth. That's supposed to be LFO1 depth. All right, I'm gonna start this one over from scratch one more time. Oh, that one was supposed to be LFO1. I was like, this is not right. All right, so pitch course. Turn you to 125. Oh, I have to set the wheel. That's funny. And then modulate all layers. Yep. Thanks to a random person on TikTok. that was easy. And then let's do the same thing on this next multi. Is there this might even be goated. Can I? No. Nah, there's no way I can do that. Yo, is there a way, since you know everything, is there a way I can copy a mod matrix page and post it onto another multi? Okay, I didn't even think about that. Thank you. Just for right now, let me try that idea. Would that mean but that would mean I'd have to turn the harmonia page on though, wouldn't it? I mean, yeah, that's not the worst idea. And I was thinking about that actually. Um, I used this page for a patch recently. I cannot remember. Yeah. No, I've used Harmonia before. And yeah, I mean it does make sense. Let me hear the difference between doing Harmonia versus um so let me go and look at it. The only thing about doing it that way is I feel like I would need Harmonia on for each one of these, and that would just be adding extra CPU power when it would basically do the same thing um on the wave the course thing. That's my only reason I would be hesitant using the Harmonia situation. But that is a good call. If I'm ever in a pinch. I think you can go to multi-mode, then right-click on part A and copy part, and then paste part on part B. Yeah. I'm not trying to overwrite the sound. I'm just trying to, if I could take everything from the mod window and paste that to another sound in the multi-page. If not, it's cool. It's not a whole complicated situation. Let me go back, see. Aftertouch, LFO1 depth. Amount. Yep, okay. Then LFO1 set to pitch fine, 715 and 0. Modulate all layers, 715. And wait, how do I get it to do that? Um, yep, Jimmy. So all you would need to do is you would need to go in and find are you talking about my Ableton template? That might help me out um a little more. Because I think on my Ableton template the pad's coming from Ableton Sampler, and that would be the last page on Sampler. Hang on a second. I can pull that up. Synths pad. Oh, there we go. Yep, so this would be the pad. MIDI input. Let's just input it from. So there's two things happening. Are you using the plugin version or the Ableton version, Jimmy? All right, cool. Yep, Ableton version should be pretty simple. You'll go over, so on this first one, open it up, you'll go over to the end. You have this little MIDI window right here. And then you have this mod wheel thing right here. It's set to 100. You can just double click it and it puts it on 0. And then if I solo that, the mod wheel is not doing anything. And then same for the super pad. Open it up, go to MIDI, double click on the 100, make that 0, and now the mod wheel doesn't do anything on the pads. But if you want to adjust the filter to map it to the nano controller or something like that, you would need to go into the filter section for each and pull. Hold up now. Oh, that's why. Thought I was tripping. You'd need to pull the filter all the way up on each one. Go to the filter section, pull the filter all the way. And now you can map the nano control to this filter knob right here. So go over to MIDI, hit filter, and I'll just pretend this is the nano control. Then go over here, hit filter, and now everything's mapped to that knob. Yep, so that's what you would need to do. All right, back to you. Need to figure out why it's not. So part 1, fine, goes both ways. So let me take a look at you. Oh, it's the way I did the filter. So let me go look at the LFO because that's where it's different. Yep, that's why it's doing that. I turned that off. And the rate is 9.71. There we go. Waveform is sine wave. Now it should go both ways. Yep. All right, cool. And then wheel pitch course 125. Oscillator pitch course. Modulate all layers. And you need to modulate all layers too. You are 125. Now both patches should do the same thing. Someone's not doing it. It is. That should be right. And now I hate myself because I want to flip it. I want the aftertouch to raise the pitch, and I want the wheel to do the vibrato, because I can just already see myself playing this patch and my wheel be like right here and me going, and it just be wrong. So I want aftertouch to do and this is why it takes me forever to make anything for you guys, because I just be doing this, changing my mind on things. Yep. So we'll go. Honestly, let's just try switching wheel and aftertouch and see what happens. Yup. Yep. Nope. We're not gonna do that just because that's gonna be way more problematic. I think. I can just see that being a lot more problematic. Um, I need to figure out a way to there just be like a split point on the wheel because I figured it out in like Ableton Sampler. To where the wheel just kind of has like a threshold point. It's kind of like on a controller, like a dead zone. Um, so as I'm raising it, it's not raising it until I reach a certain point, if that makes sense. We're still on this one right here. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might not work like that. I remember in Omnosphere 2, there was something I used to hit, and it would pop up with a menu, like a menu to adjust things. I think I know where it is. Not there. Not there. Hmm. All right. For right now, I'm not mad at this. We can live with that. Yeah, I'm not mad at that. I don't want to center these a little bit. You're clickier than I remember you. That's why. I don't love this sample right here. Let me find something else. I'll use that on something else. Honestly, something like that could have a cool texture. I would just need to control the attack on that. Yeah, that could be cool. Yeah, that patch, that little I don't even know what to call it. That little sweep, that was cool. I think that added a lot to that patch. I want to emphasize it more too. Let me hear on its own. Oh, it's a high pass filter. That's right. Let me go in. There's that clicking again. Why are you clicking? All your attacks are up. Making sure I don't have another plugin open somewhere. Mute my mic. Yeah, that's weird. I just need to raise the attack more. It's really bad until you get to like right there. Let's spread that. Yeah, that's sounding good. What's going on, Jamal? Met you at summer camp 2025. You're cooking up. Been watching your videos since then. Bro, which camp were you at? I'm trying to remember everywhere we went last summer. do like this patch a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and save this multi. So we got that patch right there. This is in a good spot. Kind of want to show you guys how if I make a patch, how I'll sample it and put it into Ableton Sampler. So let's go ahead and try to make something that we can. And the reason I do this, sometimes if a patch is like too hefty, then I'll try to make it to where I can play it in sampler. That way, it's not taking up so much power on my computer. So patches like where are we at? Where are we at? Where are we at? Instrument rack. So stuff like this. This is all from Omnosphere, but I've resampled it into. And it's only taken up a small fraction of what the actual patch in Omnosphere would take up in terms of CPU, and it sounds 92% of the way there. In an ideal world, I would run Omnosphere with everything, but just to consolidate some things that are going to get lost in a mix anyway, like a pad, I'll typically sample them down into Ableton Sampler. So I kind of want to show that process, and how I do that. I just want to make sure this is saved before I do anything. All right. New live set. So let's go with. Let's just use the JX3P for an example. So this is a patch I love. It's literally the basic JX3P patch. And I am going to take the chorus off. Just because if I'm multi-sampling a patch with chorus built in, it's gonna like sound really weird, because it's gonna record, basically if I play it all together, it's gonna record like every note I play is gonna have like a different instance of chorus on it, and it's just gonna be too much. So I'm gonna take chorus off. It also kills the noise, which helps it a little bit. So I make sure my project's set at 120. And there's a few different MIDI files I use. I'm trying to find 6s on 6 seconds, 5s on 5s. This is every 4. Let me see every 4 real quick. So I'll drag in a MIDI file, like this one, depending on what kind of instrument it is. That's kind of what this is. So for things I want more, things I want like individual notes with, I'll use one of these two files. And then things that I'm good, if I like stretch the sample over different pitches, I'll use this every 4 MIDI. And so I drag that in on here, and basically it just tracks out. And I need to pitch it up. I forgot about that. So that's a -1. So that's like the bottom note on an 88 key keyboard. And then it'll record a C#0. And now you see it's just going up every 4 notes, all the way up to A6, which I can stretch to the top note, which is a C7. And I'll just kind of show you. So it's recording these like one shots of each 4 notes. And so I'll just go in. If I'm using Ableton 11 like this, I'll go in freeze track, let it do its thing. If I'm using Ableton 12, I just go in and hit bounce track to audio file, and it'll do this process for me. I am in the process of trying to make a Max for Live device that does this entire process for me. That way I don't have to do it. I can just drag the Max for Live device on the MIDI channel and be like, go ahead and freeze it and slice it and put it in a sampler for me. But it takes a lot to do all that, so work in progress. And then I'll flatten the track, make it an audio file. But like I said, if I'm in Ableton 12, I would have just bounced track to audio file and it would have been done. Then I'll go and I'll just go ahead and slice each individual thing. Is there probably a faster way? Yeah, but this is the way I know how to do it. And it's not too bad when you're doing the every four of every four. Yep, and then from there I'll go in and hit Command J to they call it joining the track, but it just once again flattens the track. But the reason I do that is because if I dragged in this track into a sampler, it's now dragging in this selection with everything else. But if I hit Command J, it's now just that selection. And it doesn't have everything else baked in. It's a little tedious, but it's not too bad. The only time it gets really tedious is if I'm doing like something where I try to get as many samples, like an 88 key, like something like the Rhodes or the Nord. That took a lot of time. And then I'll go to a MIDI track. And I'll drop in sampler. I'll open up zones, and I just go ahead and select everything. And I'll drag them into zones. And now you see this little, I don't know if TikTok can see it, if I'm being honest, but there's a little R right there that stands for the root. And that's going to be like your root note for each chord. And so that automatically goes to C3. So I drag up the bottom of everything to that root note. And I drag everything over to A-1, which is where my keyboard starts. And drag it all the way up to C7, which is where my keyboard ends. Then I right click and distribute ranges equally. And now it should have distributed everything equally all the way up to C7. And now I always just go in and double check that it did that. So utilities, tuner. And yep, that's a little bit off, and you could even see it move the root note. So I'm going to take this, drag it back down. Actually, no, this is a better way to do this. I can take the root and move it down. Sorry. I can move it back to where it was. So now everything is right. All the way up to C7. All right, now the other key thing you have to remember is you want the sample to loop on itself. So I'm going to go find, you see how they're all the same length? So I'm going to go find one, and I'm going to find its loop point. So loop start. Let's see what it sounds like if it starts right there. And we'll set the crossfade. There's a little bit of phasing, so I'm trying to see Try to line it up on the waveform so there's no phasing. Let's do a little bit of phasing. Crossfade might be a little too long. Let's adjust that. It's not too terrible. Still could be a little bit tighter though. I think it's that crossfade, if I'm being honest. I think it's just too much. Let's hear it with barely any crossfade. Did I take the chorus off? It still sounds like there's chorus on the sample. Might just be how the sample's beating. So it peaks there, and it peaks right here. Maybe before a peak? That's not right. Depending on your sound source, this can be a super easy process. A lot of times it's very easy. This one's just a little weird just because I didn't realize the waveform was beating so much. But for stuff like pads for the most part, in strings, it's super easy. I just need to get it in a good spot here. It's not terrible. I wonder if I did a smaller loop section and increase the crossfade. It's not bad. I don't hate that. So then this is stupid, but I'll typically take a picture of what those parameters are. And then I'll reset this to there, crossfade at 0, and then I'll select everything and I'll type in those parameters. So loop start is 95,228. Loop end is 264,362. And then crossfade is 18,607. Then we should have a then I can go in. Most of the time, the volume needs to come down a little bit. come in, then add any kind of chorus I want. So I like the Arturia Juno chorus. And in here, I can even control the filter. So filter envelope, I can set the sustain up, bring the frequency down, the amount of the envelope up. The filter is very incremental on this one. You really have to go up to hear it affecting the envelope. And then just add a little bit of delay and verb, any kind of other processing you want. So we'll add a little bit of supermassive. I like this Hydra heart preset. I just kind of bring down the delay and the feedback and the mix, of course. It also would sound really good with some little bit of distortion. So I'll probably use Decapitator, which is a Sound Toys plugin. Really, they make really good stuff. And you can delete the tuner. So I'll just kind of drive it a little bit. Could use some EQ as well. Probably do EQ before. Just that way it's hitting the saturator a little bit cleaner. And it didn't record with a whole lot of highs just because I think the sample itself was kind of low pass already. So I'm going to add a little bit of highs in. And now we went from having VST that requires internet connection to everything being within Ableton. And it sounds pretty much the same. And you even have that filter control, which on the JX3P might not be as precise as this filter and this filter envelope. Then, like I was showing earlier, you can go in mod wheel. What should we set the mod wheel to? Let's go to modulation, LFO1. Let's just turn pitch all the way up and find a good spot. Around 5, so we'll set mod wheel LFO1 amount pitch and put that on 5. Actually, no, it's the opposite way. There we go. Yep. So that's how I do sampling from other patches. And I'll do that with hardware too. So if I ever have a hardware keyboard, like I can show you with this guy right here, it's a little mini mo clone. I might sample down like a sine lead or something from that, just because I want to make like a sine lead patch with like delay on it. Um, but if I'm ever doing something like that, that's kind of my process for sampling it down. And I'll go ahead and save this patch. I kind of liked it. Let's call it EH. Weepy JX3P. Save. Then put that in sample favorites. All right. Don't save. All right. Let's let me turn this thing on. I don't even know. Let me find the power cable. All right, it's on. That was probably super loud in y'all's ears. I am so sorry. Yeah, that is on me. I am terribly sorry. Hold up. All right, so this is it's like a mini Moog surface. So I can go in and just make it sound like a mini Moog. I really am just trying to pull like a sine triangle lead off of it. So sustain up. Let me tune it real quick. And I'm gonna do the same thing where I sample it, but let me do it a little bit differently. So I'm gonna pull in that MIDI file, the every four, and then I'm going to pitch it up, and then I'm going to set it to an external instrument. It's gonna go to the key lab, and it should play back audio from input 1. Emphasis on should. Make sure we're on channel 1. I've personally never done this. You know what? There's an easier way to do this. Just connect this cable to it. I don't know why I'm wasting time. File settings, MIDI, Model D. Output, Model D. And the only cruddy part about hardware is it's going to have to record everything on its own. So I can go in freeze track and it's going to, it kind of does this thing where it like, it records everything in real time. But that way I'm not having to create an audio track and then have it do this whole process. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, this would be a great time while it does this whole situation. What was I'm just seeing your thing, Jamal. Student life camp, Southern Wesleyan. I think I remember that. Yeah, that's kind of like it's a cool summer job for me. It's kind of serving as their MD for all the summer camps. About a quarter of the way through. So if I'm ever doing something like this is typically when I'll just turn on the PS5 and let this just work in the background. I should have turned that release down. And the cruddy part is I know it's going to be super out of tune by the time it's done recording. Yeah, I can this is probably my least favorite part of doing this. That's also probably really loud for you. That's on me. I'll turn this down for right now. It should be done recording the audio. Thank God. All right. Yep. So now I can flatten it down. Might take a second. Maybe you didn't hear me. I said flatten it down. There we go. Yep. Then just like last time. Actually, on this one, let me go through and there's no quick way to do all that, so I'm not going to worry about it. Go through and slice each individual thing. And if you zoom out, it looks like you're cutting into the note, but as you zoom in, you can see that you're actually not, and the transient hasn't started yet. It's just kind of like an optical illusion. But it does confuse me from time to time. I just know some of these notes are going to be super out of tune because it was probably still warming up while I was recording. So I'm going to have to go through and kind of manually tune them. I've isolated each thing. Now I'm just going to go Command J everything. Yep. MIDI sampler. Open up the zones, select everything. Drop it into sampler on the zones. Find that root track. Take it down to A-1. Stretch it up to C7. Then distribute ranges equally. Bring the root track back down 1. And then, ooh, that wasn't right. A-1, C7. And then distribute ranges equally. And then root track down 1. And let's assess the damage. And plug this back in. I don't love this mic for this kind of stuff. So if y'all have recommendations on a different mic for live streaming, I'm all ears because I hate this mic for this purpose. Yep. So first off the bat, I know I want it to be a mono situation. So I'm going to go through and add glide to everything. See how out of tune everything is. Put a tuner on it. And we'll go section by section. So this honestly makes a great 808 too. Honestly, none of this matters up until, yeah, it's really sharp. Oh my gosh, it's super sharp. So automatically everything can get selected and detuned a good bit. I'm like, what is happening? Tune it up a little bit. And it's gonna have, I'm gonna have to do it individually. So let's start where it actually matters. right in here. That needs to come up. Next sample needs to come up a little bit. Next needs to come up a little bit. Like I was saying, it was like tuning up as we were recording, so it's not gonna be perfect. That one was pretty good, right on the money. Hey, what's going on? Where is this one at? It's right there. All right, next. That one's pretty on the money. Next, we have this one. That one's a little sharp, so let's bring it down. Next. This can come down. This one can come down, definitely. So you kind of heard the spot that it kind of hit the right tune and then just kept going sharp. So right there's the next one. That can come down. And this one should be easy to crossfade on itself just because it's not, the waveform's not beating so much. That one's actually pretty in tune. I take that back. Just got 4 more. 3 more. Last one. Oh my gosh. I can't detune it anymore. Anyway, so now they should all roughly be in tune. First thing I want to do is this situation. Mod wheel, LFO1, amount pitch, 100%. All right, now let's find a good loop point. We could honestly just try to free ball it. Actually, no, because I can't see. Need to find which note this is. It's that one right there. So sustain mode, loop start, and loop end. Crossfade. Let's see how that sounds. Ah, man. Still a little obvious. Loop end. Crossfade does not love me today. I wonder if we put the start further back. It's because it was detuning the entire time. So one thing about these hardware synths that kind of suck. You can see it move. The tuning is moving as the note's playing. Actually, I don't typically use this method, but this might be the answer for right now. I'm gonna do this back and forth one, so it'll go forward and then move the note backwards. Maybe crossfade needs to come down. What is it with that crossfade? It's not loving. Let's try it all the way off. Yeah, that was my fear. I just didn't think it would be this obvious of a difference. Yeah, this is tough. I'm not gonna lie. What's the other sustain mode? No looping. Honestly, it's kind of a long time to hold a lead note anyway, so the chance of you actually hearing this in a live, let's just set it to that for right now. We can go and change it later on. So yep, taking a picture of the parameters, and I'll select everything. Loop start is 52,185. Loop end 267,040. And crossfade 153.91. Let's hear how that sounds. What's up, babe? Hey, how's your day? Love you too. You just hanging out? Huh? Where are the boys? Okay, I love you. And then to this patch, we'll wrap up here in a second, but this patch you can add a little bit of saturation. EQ if you want. Just cut out the lows, but honestly, this could make a really cool bass synth too, so I wouldn't go cutting out all the lows. Maybe just the super muddy stuff. Or even just doing like something like that. I've seen people do this before. Turn the saturation up. Then if you want to use it as a lead, you can always add a little bit of echo. I like to split my delays with something like That's the other thing on Ableton Sampler. It defaults to 5 semitones on your pitch wheel. I'd always like to keep it at 2. Um, there you kind of have like a smooth sine lead if you ever need one. Don't ever sleep on the Ableton built-in reverb. Stack it all together. Title it CH. Save it. And when you save an instrument like that, it saves all your samples too, which is super helpful. And it's using an actual Model D sound source, so it's like a true analog sound. Could we have pulled up a VST or an Ableton synth and just grabbed a sine wave and it been like 10 times easier? Yeah, we could have. And honestly, let's look at the differences if we took Ableton's built-in analog, found a sine wave, or even operator, or drift. Let me just find a sine wave. Technically, it'd be a triangle wave. Mono. And you add the same effects. This is what that would sound like. Versus that just sounds better in my opinion. So that's why I go and do it the long way. But my wife is home, so I'm gonna get off and I'll catch y'all probably tomorrow. I'll do another one of these. My goal is to have the aux template out Friday of next week. So somebody just asked a question. Do you think live standard is enough for running a keys template? No, I personally wouldn't use live standard. It if you're just hosting VSTs, sure, but if you're ever wanting to use anything for real, the biggest thing live standard does not have is sampler and EQ8. And EQ8 is crucial for shaping your sound in a keys template. You could use another EQ, but it's just adding a processing power. And honestly, I never like to recommend spending money on things because not everyone's in a place where they can. Wait. You have both in standard? That's not right. Hang on. Ableton Live. Standard versus Sweet. Sampler is not in standard. I know that for certain. Simpler is in both, and sampler is only in Sweet. The difference between simpler and standard, simpler, you can drag in an audio file and use it. And I use simpler a lot of times for chopping up, like all those Rhodes granular things. I use simpler for that. But standard is the only one that you can bring in multiple samples. So for stuff like I'm doing here with synths and stuff, it's the only way I can set those like zones and actually make an actual sampled instrument. Oh yeah, no. Yeah, sampler. And then I might be wrong on EQ8, but I think I was looking the other. Yeah, EQ8's only in Suite too. I do think that standard has this thing called channel EQ, but it's like a very limited version of EQ8. EQ8 is like if you use Logic, it's like that's crazy. What version of Ableton do you have? That's weird because their website literally says Suite only for EQ8. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just going off of what I've seen. But those two are, for the person on YouTube who asked, those two are the biggest reasons why I would why I would stick to Suite. And the cool thing about Ableton Suite, I'm not a proponent on spending money if you don't have money. But they do have a nice rent to own, which is super helpful. Yeah, I think Suite is $30 a month. And if you have a version of Ableton, I think there's an upgrade price too on the rent to own. Because I think I had a buddy who's only paying like $20 a month for Suite, and he had standard. So, yeah, I think it's worth the $30 a month. Or I know places like American Musical Supply. If you want something a little bit different, you could buy it from these guys. Let me see what they got, what they're selling it for. And the only reason I'm recommending these guys is because back when I was super broke, dude, I typed in American Musical Supply and American Musical Supply. That's funny. Back when I was super broke, I would best service. What is that? Let me look at that. Let me find it on here. Actually, American Musical Supply doesn't have it anymore. That's crazy. What is best service? I've never heard of that. Whoa, what is this? Oh, I've heard of this site. So this is similar. I need to check this. This reminds me of a site I used to use called Don't Crack. But here's another site if you really want cheap plugins. I use this site all the time. It's called KnobCloud. Super sus name, but it's where you can sell old plugin licenses that you don't use and software licenses. So I bought a lot of plugins off of here. I bought Melodyne off of here, and it sounds super shady in concept, but it's actually super legit. So looking at like Ableton license, you can get a copy of Live 11 Suite for $280 right here. $230 right here. And basically you pay people with PayPal goods and services, which is it protects you. And then they just send you the license, and if they don't send you the license, you get your money back. And these are all legal licenses. It's not a bunch of like cracked plugins and stuff like that. I've bought several things off of this site. It's always been a great experience. Um, Even like Live 12 Suite, you can get it for $500 versus the 750, which is crazy. It's gotten a lot cheaper because I think I remember I bought back when Ableton 9 or 10 came out. I bought no, it was 10. I bought Ableton 10 Suite for like $900. So I feel like it's gone a little bit down in price since I bought it. But I when I bought it, it had like the I don't know if I still have it, but it had like the box and everything. Um, but yeah, I buy like let's look at Melodyne because that's what I bought off of this site. Yeah, Melodyne Studio 350. The reason I used this site was because I think I had Assistant and I bought the upgrade from Assistant, which was like 130, and through Melodyne's actual site, it was like 250 or something crazy. Um, and they're all legal licenses. It's just stuff people don't use anymore. Like you can find a lot of like Arturia stuff on here. Um, I bought a few of the Arturia effects through here, like this Cold Fire Distortion's like $70 on the website, but it's 20-ish, 20 to $30 right here. You can get some of the individual like V collection stuff for super cheap. This tape delay is $8. Um, I like just coming on this site every once in a while and just seeing what kind of sales they have. Um, like Guitar Rig Pro, I have a buddy who plays guitar and he really wanted Guitar Rig, but he didn't want to pay um like full price for it. So I went on here. It was for his wedding, and I was like, "Hey, wedding present! I found Guitar Rig for $50 on OpCloud," and I just bought the license and sent him the screenshot of the serial code, and he put it in native access, and it works because it's a legal license. But like, I have a bunch of UVI plugins I don't use that I bought when they were on sale, and I could sell them for like double, triple what I bought them for on this site. Um, yeah, I highly recommend this site if you ever need software for super cheap. This is not paid endorsement. This is just my personal experience. If you can get over the really sus knob cloud name, highly recommend it. Um, but yeah, if there's no more questions, I'm a head out. So y'all have a good one.